Down bunker. This is your proprietor on a Tuesday afternoon, and we got serious problems here today. Anybody out there got bail money? Your proprietor just about got tossed in the hoosegow today, and I want to tell you all about it. Day 2 of the Danny Masterson retrial. Still just in jury selection. Really didn't expect much to happen today, but once again, like yesterday, it was quite a significant day. Yesterday, if you remember, we found out the defense is calling its own Scientology expert witness to counter the prosecution's expert, Claire Headley. The defense plans to call her stepfather, Hugh Witt. And we're going to try to learn more about that man, but it just seems like such a David Miscavige move. So I didn't expect anything big like that to happen today, but I was wrong. Sometime during the morning session, Sean Hawley asked to go to sidebar with the judge. Judge Olmedo has made it clear she really doesn't like sidebars. And also we learned today that, Sean Hawley is not just, she's really here. Karen Goldstein's not coming back. And Judge Olmedo was asking Philip Cohen and Sean Hawley, which of you should I be addressing? In other words, the judge was basically asking them, who is now the Danny Masterson lead defense attorney? And she said she wanted an answer by Thursday. Just in the energy in the room and the way these two attorneys are acting, I'm getting the feeling that now Sean Hawley is the lead attorney for Danny Masterson, and Philip Cohen is in the second seat. So anyway, at one point, Sean Hawley asked to do a sidebar. And so all 4 attorneys went up to the bench. And, you have to understand, the jurors had not been let in yet. This is a fairly sizable courtroom, but it was empty. There's nobody in there, nobody making any noise whatsoever. I'm sitting in the extreme far back row. No other reporters in the room. There's just me and these attorneys in the whole courtroom. So when Sean Hawley began speaking, she's got a pretty resonant voice. I wasn't leaning forward or doing this or anything like that. I was just sitting there and I could hear her say that the issue she had was some material they had gotten through a subpoena regarding the Scientology grand jury investigation, and that they wanted the subpoena itself. And then Judge Olmedo said, well, is this something we really need to do at the sidebar? And they were like, yeah. And after that, I couldn't really hear too much, except I did hear the words grand jury said several more times. Well, I was very interested in this. Then they came back to open court, and Judge Olmedo then explained that the defense had some material through a subpoena, but they wanted the subpoena itself. So what that suggests is that this was a prosecution subpoena to get some testimony from the grand jury. And now that's consistent, because if you remember, I don't know, a year ago or more, I think it was the summer of 2022, I first broke the news that the prosecution was entering actual testimony by Marty Singer from a grand jury investigation of Danny Masterson and Scientology. That's when we first learned about this grand jury investigation, about a year ago. And the other thing I remember was that at some point, I think Mueller revealed that had been going on for a couple of years. So this is not some new grand jury. This has been going on for quite a while. And apparently there was some material turned over to the defense, but they want the actual subpoena. They want whatever information is in the subpoena, and Judge Olmedo was leaning against it. And then she asked Mueller, is this proceeding ongoing? And he said, yes, it is. And she said, well, even more reason you're not going to get the subpoena. And I realized what they were saying was that grand jury that the defense wants a subpoena for is still happening. Well, I'm hearing from other reporters, like, what does that mean? Does that mean they're still looking at Danny? Are they looking at other issues in Scientology? I don't know. All I know is I heard very clearly with my own ears that they were discussing a grand jury investigation of Scientology, and that in open court, Judge Olmedo asked the DA, is this ongoing? And he said yes. So I wrote my story, because I know what I heard. So in the afternoon session, just a very short session, there was a very cute, funny moment. The story's already very popular. People are enjoying it. Judge Olmedo discussed the fact that there was one juror out of 200 whose excuse for getting out of jury duty was that he had a doctor's note saying that he couldn't be in jury duty because he can't wear shoes. And she admitted that in 20 years at the bench, she'd never heard that particular excuse before. And she asked Robert, the clerk, do you remember this juror? He said, yeah. Was he wearing shoes in court? And Robert surprised us by saying, yes, he was wearing very nice shoes. And Judge Olmedo said, well, that's it. No excuse. He's not getting out. But then she was like curious, because Robert doesn't usually volunteer things like that. And she asked him, why do you remember those shoes? And he said, because they were very soft leather shoes and I would wear them. It was so cute. It was wonderful. I asked him what color. Later I asked him what color. He said black. So that I grabbed that image just for the story. Anyway, that, they just had these, the last set of jurors fill out the questionnaires, go home. We thought the day was done. I put out the story about the shoes. But the attorneys hung back. Said they wanted to talk to the judge about something. They went back in her chambers this time. They came out. The judge put her robe on, got on the bench, and she explained that the defense attorneys were very unhappy that I had overheard what they said in the sidebar and I had published it. And so she admonished me that what is said at sidebar is not supposed to be published, and even if I hear something, voices carry, don't publish it, and that I was being admonished, which is kind of like a warning. And of course, I'm not going to say anything, right? She asked me if I wanted to say something. I said, no, no thank you, Your Honor. And that's it. So, and all four attorneys joined in on it. They're all unhappy that I did that, and I understand. But again, I'll just point out, I was sitting in the back row. I could hear clearly what was being said, and I realized what they were saying. That there was a grand jury investigation ongoing into Scientology. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I could not keep that information from you. I knew you would want to hear that, and so I published it. But I've been admonished, and I will, do my best not to hear what they say at sidebar. I hope they're a little more careful next time. But what a day! I'm gonna go now and do my penance. I'm gonna feel bad about this for a while, and the thing is, when you're a reporter, you end up making everybody unhappy at some point. It's just kind of the nature of it. But the story is what's important to me, and getting news out to you guys, so I'm glad you got the news. And tomorrow will be a more interesting day of jury selection, because tomorrow Judge Olmedo starts to actually question these people based on their responses to the questionnaire. It's going to be a very busy day for me, because I'm going to try my best to get down, associate particular jurors with their professions and stuff, so we have a decent idea of who's who in the final jury. So that's going to be a very busy day for me tomorrow. I hope you stick around. From the Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center, this is your proprietor signing out.